piles of scrap rusting in channels of sewage. I've got a fever, a necro fever, and the only cure seems to be creating some kind of storage and scenic backdrop that all fits inside of a shoebox made of wood. Enter the Necrobox. Greetings, chromatic warriors. Just straight off the dome. So, I have been cobbling together, as mentioned before, a Necrobox. I've been bitten by the bug of this retro game that's been resurrected, and boy has it had a lot of fresh life injected into it. Now, my gaming group, we've tried many things, and we've also lost many members. You know what? To make a long story short, I'm trying out a new game, and although none of them seem to really last, they are certainly an area to pull inspiration from. And I realize in these times that a game that has facilitated art in the past, now how it feels, art is the game. So I've been working on the Necrobox, mainly cobbled together from Mantic Games Battle Zones. They just look up Mantic Games sci-fi scenery. There's a lot of options. They have ruined pieces, assembled pieces, and nice and affordable. That's Mantic Games for you. But those are the main building blocks, plus some pieces from the Kill Team Necromunda box, and some of the walls and bulkheads from the Necromunda core box itself. I spent a good amount of time fiddling with these pieces and arranging them just so inside of the box. And I wanted to create a larger scene, but also provide a lot of interesting angles to target, to get a variety out of the photos I could take with this backdrop. I'll be able to fit my rulebooks behind this facing, and beneath the main stage, it's hollow. I can put tape measures and dice inside of that. The models will fit into the foam that is adhered to the inside of the cover. Once it all closes up, there will be a thin sheet of foam over the models, but I'm not worried about them. It's going to stay standing in the upright position. I'm not going to be winging it around the room or anything. The foam should pinch the models in place well enough. In order to get that layer of sumpy grit, I diluted down some Monument Hobbies fine earth texture. I applied that in a couple layers, kind of letting it do its thing. I wanted to move very gradually, just to provide a little bit of tooth and irregularity. I also used some of the Citadel Martian Iron Earth, that crackle texture paste, crammed that into a lot of crevices. This helped for some fill work, of course gluing some dirt into to cover up the creases as well. There doesn't seem to be many projects I can get past without gluing dirt to it at some point, so there we go. But after you've glued all of your dirt, plastic, putty, random scatterings of rods and RC carpets together, how does one paint it? I want this to kind of stand in the back. I want it to take a monochromatic tone, mainly. The models are the feature. And this also gives me a chance to play with weathering heavily, which I enjoy. And I'd like to bring back an old trick, the hairspray weathering technique. I'll add some things, some modern tools on top of that, but yeah. Just how was the Necrobox painted, and what tricks did I use? Let's take a look. First and foremost, I'll be taking a very large brush and wet blending Dryad brown and molten lava together. Do your best here to create a stippled texture if you can. Most of this will be covered up, but it won't hurt. Might as well do your best at every stage. Secondly, time for some clear coat. I'll be using Testor's Dullcoat for this. I'd recommend a more robust aerosol-based clear coat. And you know what? On second thought, I'm going to do that outside. Much healthier this way. Yet another weird thing my neighbors see me doing. They call me Mr. Mystery. Third up, we're going to be... God. Third, we're going to get cooking with some Himalayan salt. I think the chunky stuff is the best, but I want to drizzle or just sprinkle that over the backdrop. Let it pile up into the crevices. You may want to sweep it around with your hands a little bit, but after the salt has settled, bust out the hairspray. I will also do the hairspraying outside, but why am I doing this? Why have I paint? So there's a layer of paint, then clear coat, then salt, and now hairspray. Because the hairspray is water soluble, and anything that I paint over that, I'll be able to remove lightly with a little bit of water. Now, like I said, I'm going to airbrush necrotic flesh over that whole mess. Be sure to work in very thin layers. Don't pile it on too heavily because the moisture can reactivate the hairspray. So if you lay it on too much, it's going to get a little bit murky. It all kind of comes out in the end, but take it from me, it's best to work in multiple thin layers. And don't worry about that slight bit of fogginess that you're seeing. It's just the salt combining with various liquids. It will all go away. Now I don't want it to be completely flat. I'll bring in some accent tones in the form of yellow dune and bleached bone, just picking out some of the doors, some of the smaller panels, breaking things up ever so slightly. Next up, continuing to airbrush, I will add a very light shadow to everything by laying down a coat of Pestilent flesh. Just stick to the crevices, the overhangs, just kind of breaking up all of those tones. Everything is pretty flat and monochromatic. Just a nice mid shadow. Now for the fun part. I'm going to take a toothbrush and start roughing up all of the scenery. I want to see what I can remove before making anything wet. Get something toothy, start chipping away at all of the salt. Now with that dampened toothbrush, begin roughing things up. Again, the hairspray is water soluble. By wetting it, you'll expose the rusty undercoat. Be careful not to add too much water. It will respond to a greater amount by running or dripping on you. It's such a fast acting technique. Just be sure not to get overexcited and overdo that stage. Just work nice, slow and purposefully. And you can also pull in other tools to add different shapes of scrapes. I'll take a toothpick. I think that soft wood is a nice candidate, and I can add some larger scrapes, knock away more of that salt if some of it's a little harder to remove. Scrape away with a toothpick. With that out of the way, I'll be picking out cables and other little mechy details with a deep silver. Here I'm using gunmetal mixed with black, 50-50. A coat of dark rust. I love this stuff. The rust effects from the Army Painter, very nice. Apply gloriously, varying the density with dilution, wiping with your fingers, streaking with a brush, all the hand stuff at your disposal. Just go wild. You remember the first technique you learned when you were like 10 years old? Dry brushing. I'll be dry brushing very sparingly with ancient stone. Mainly, I want to define some edges. With this, the whole thing is very loose, and that's intentional. It's just background. It's the lightest amount of definement. Back to the rust. I'll be using fresh rust, the brighter of the pair. Variety is the spice of life, and life is real. Therefore, a variety of rust will make it more real. And hey, just like the last time, have fun. And lastly, some clear acrylic sheeting. At first, I thought I would glue it on, but on second thought, using poster tack or tape would be less permanent and more adaptable. I will take a very light grit sandpaper and just lightly scrub on that, so when I project a light from behind, it will catch just a little bit more light, still be transparent. So here we are, Necrobox complete. I have a single game of Necromunda under my belt. Not much happened, but I like what I'm seeing. I'll always be excited to play a game because it inspires me to create. And I think that's what's most important. There are so many ways to find motivation to push yourself. And that's really what this project gave me. Who knows what it's going to become? But as I'm working lately, a lot of my tabletop output is going to be customized. I see it as part of a larger picture. All of the small war bands will be part of a larger force. Scenic backdrops like this can be combined with other elements. It's going to go a lot further. So I hoped it helped to inspire you, and at the core of it, share a very simple technique. Please let me know how you feel in the comment section down below. I'm always happy to hear from you as supporters on this Patreon. It means a lot to me. And until we meet again, my friends, in the next video file, remain unchained.